Hi everyone, this is the last video now on speed, distance, time problems. The ones today in this video are going to be a little more complicated. So it's still using the same speed, distance, time triangle, so still using this one. But when you read the questions, there's a little bit more to them now. So a cyclist travels 2 miles in 10 minutes and then a further 7 miles in 20 minutes without stopping. Calculate the cyclist's average speed. So we can see that he's made two parts to this journey. So if you imagine the cyclist starting here, he's travelled 2 miles to get to here. So if we just add that on, I usually find a little diagram helps. And that took 10 minutes. Then he's gone a further 7 miles, or she has gone a further 7 miles to get to here, and that took 20 minutes. So to work out the cyclist's average speed, we need to make sure that you have the total distance covered divided by the total time that it took. So altogether, the cyclist has travelled 9 miles, hasn't it? Because it's gone 2 and then another 7. So the total distance is 9 miles, and the total time, well, it's 10 plus 20, which is 30 minutes. So the total time is 30 minutes. So we know that to work out the speed, I've got to do the distance divided by the time. So the distance was 9 and my time was 30. So just remember that when you work that out, this is in minutes at the moment. So this is going to give you the speed in miles per minute, isn't it? So if I do 9 divided by 30, which might be best just to leave it like that as a fraction at the moment, so that makes it 3/10, but that is miles per minute. Now, some of you in the last lesson on this were then working this out. Obviously this one is a nice decimal, but if you get something like this at this stage, or I don't know, let's say something like this, the best thing to do is use the whole decimal. Don't round it yet, because that's not your final answer, so don't do any rounding until you get to the very end. So I know that's going to be 3/10 miles per minute. I want it in the miles per hour, so there's 60 minutes in an hour, so it's going to go 60 times as far, so I need to just times it by 60. So it was 3/10, which is 0.3 times 60, so that gives it 18 miles per hour. So that's the first question on that one. So the second one, these are all made up of like 2-part journeys basically. So this time they're going to travel at an average speed of 60 miles per hour for 30 miles. So you can see this is a little bit different to the one before it, because this time we've got the speed and the number of miles. So if we draw a little section like this, it doesn't really matter if it's not to scale. So this is the first part of the journey, and he's going, or she, I'm not really quite sure, the distance is 30 miles. And we know the speed is 60 miles per hour. Then they travel 120 miles in 2.75 hours. So, like I said, it doesn't really matter about the scale. If you only draw it to here, it doesn't really matter as long as you're labelling on it's 120. So 120 miles this time. And we know that that took 2.75 hours. So we need to find the average speed for the entire journey. So we know that to work out the speed, you've got to do the total distance covered divided by the total time that it took. Now we can work out the total distance because that's just going to be 30 plus 120, isn't it? So the total distance is 150 miles. Now even if that's all you wrote down in an exam, there would be a mark for doing that. So it's always worth writing down whatever you can, even if you can't finish off the whole question. So total distance is 150. We now need to try and work out the total time. Well, we've got the time for this one, but we haven't got the time for this little section here. But we have got a distance and a speed. So what you're going to have to do is use the speed, distance, time triangle over here on this little section to work out the time. So to work out the time, cover up the T. So I've got to do the distance divided by the speed. So the distance is 30. And the speed is 60, isn't it? So if I do 30 divided by 60, that's just going to give me a half, or 0.5. So therefore I know now that that took 0.5 hours. So now I've got the time here and I've got the time here. I just need to add those together now to get the total time that the whole journey took. So I need to do 2.75 plus the 0.5, and that equals 3.25. So the whole thing took 3.25 hours. So I'm going to do 150 divided by 3.25. And so my answer then is 46. Now it's okay to round. Actually, you can't see my answer. There you go. Now it's okay to round because this is now my final answer, and it says to 2 decimal places, so it'll be 46.15. And the units, well, it's an average speed, isn't it? And everything is in miles or hours, so it'll be miles per hour. And the final one, so this time they drive 35 kilometres at an average speed of 90, and then 6 kilometres at 60. So it's another 2-part journey. So let's sketch that out. So the first one is 35 kilometres, average speed of 90 kilometres per hour. So you can see already that we're missing a time there. We've got the distance and the speed. We're probably going to have to work out the time. Then the next section, we've got 6 kilometres. That's a bit smaller. And that was at 60 kilometres per hour. So again, you can see we're missing a time, aren't we? We've got the distance, got the speed, but we don't know the time. So what's the average speed for the whole journey? So it's quite similar to the question above it, apart from the fact we're going to have to work out a couple of things first. So the average speed for the whole journey would be the total distance divided by total time. So the total distance, nice and easy, 35 plus 6, isn't it? So the total distance would just be 41 kilometres. The problem is the total time, because we haven't got a time here, we haven't got a time here. So we're going to use the speed, distance, time triangle now on both sections to work out how long each little section took. So for this one here to here, we know to work out the time, cover up the t, so I've got to do distance divided by speed. So I'm going to do 35 divided by 90. So I'll bring my calculator over. So 35 divided by 90 is 7/18, which is quite a horrible decimal. So actually I'm going to leave it as 7/18 to be really accurate. So 7/18. The speed is in per hour, so that must be hours. So I'm now going to do the same for this bit here. I know that it was 6 kilometres, I know the speed, but again I don't know how long it took. So again I'm going to use the speed, distance, time triangle to work out how long did this little section here take. So I'm trying to find the time, so let's cover that up. So I need to do again the distance divided by the speed, so 6 divided by 60. So 6 divided by 60 is 1/10. So again, that must be in hours because that was hours there. So to work out now, going back to this, I needed the total time, didn't I? So I'm going to do 7/18 plus 1/10. And that's going to give me the total time. So 7/18 plus 1/10. So that's 22/45. So again, to keep it nice and accurate, rather than changing it around to a decimal, I'm just going to keep it like that. So almost there. The average speed is going to be the distance, which is 41, divided by the time, which is 22/45. So I need to do 41 divided by 22/45, which is stored on my answer button, so I can just press that. And so I get this, and now it's my final answer. So now I'm going to actually see what does that equal. I need to do it to 1 decimal place. So to 1 decimal place, this would be 83.9, because the 6 is going to make the 8 go up to a 9. And again, the units, well, it's an average speed. Distances are in kilometres. The time is all in hours. So it's going to be kilometres per hour.